In this episode of Solstice Meadery, we're going bananas. That's right. Today we're going to go ahead and make banana mead. Now, I've had these donated from somebody, good friends of mine, and I appreciate them. If you're watching, thank you very much for doing that. As you know, I like to do everything on a bargain basis, right? I like to try to get everything used if I can, all my equipment, and of course, if I can get donated fruit. To make it. Hey, if I can get donated honey, if you're out there, you're watching, feel free to contact me. I would love to get hooked up with someone who has an apiary and would like to go ahead and get featured in my mead products. Would love to work with somebody. But yeah, so donated fruit. These are really great bananas. A little bit about what you want to use if you're playing along at home. You do not want bright yellow bananas. You don't want the green bananas or the bright yellow ones. You want the off yellow. They look kind of beat up, maybe some brown spots. Those are actually the perfect bananas that you want to use. And the reason for that is because the longer they sit, the more sugars they make. So the more potent the banana flavor and the sweetness of the banana is going to be. Now, yes, to a certain point, that works, and then it just becomes a nasty bruised banana that you can't really use for anything. So keep that in mind. And you can see on some of these, I may have to go ahead, like that looks like a pretty big bruise spot right there. I may have to go ahead and cut some of these out, but as you can see, I got quite a bit. So I'm not real worried about that. We're going to go ahead and do what we can with these and make a mead. So again, as always, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and hydrate our yeast. We're going to go ahead and get our spring water here. And I am using the same DYW10 cuvee yeast from the Mead back here, which, if you can see, there are no bubbles currently. However, I did take a reading earlier, and while the reading has not changed, or at least, eyeballing it, I can't really see a change. There are definitely bubbles forming in it, so it is fermenting. It's going at pace, and we're going to let it just do its thing for a while, and I'll continue to take readings, and we'll see. And I am going to go ahead and put all of my meats, at least the ones that will fit up here, so that we can see how they're doing in future videos, and we can keep taking a look at them. So first thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and get about 4 ounces of water. That is close enough for government work. Put the cap on that for now. We are going to take our yeast, get this opened up. And again, this is about a half a package-ish. I eyeballed it. It's not an exact measurement. There may be more or less from the Mead, as this is the same package. So we're just going to go ahead and take that, get it opened up so I can get to it. And we're going to pitch that right in there. Ah, the yeasty smell. All right, good to go. We're going to go and give that a bit of a stir, bit of a shake. Oh, looks like I got a bunch of my yeast up on the walls. Can't get that down. Okay. I'm going to set that aside and let it do its thing. So right now, primarily what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and take these bananas and get them not just cut up, but we also want to go ahead and I'm going to give them a decent little mash, just to kind of break them up, and so it gets in there and it all gets touched, as much surface area as possible gets to the honey in the water, so that it can extract those flavors from the banana. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer all this over to my other towel here. And I do have a scale over here. I don't know if you can see that in the shot, but I do have a scale. I'm going to try to measure the bananas so that I know roughly how much how many pounds of bananas that I'll be putting in this 1 gallon mead, so that we can take good notes and get that taken care of, so that we know exactly what we're making for next time. So let's do this. I'm probably going to speed this up. Probably, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say, there we go. So through the power of some really crappy video editing, I've gone ahead and separated the bananas from their husks. I'm not going to use the husks. I have heard of some people literally just cutting the bananas, leaving them in the in their wrapper, so to speak. And I'm not going to do that. If you're playing along at home and that's what you choose to do, feel free to do so. Your mead, your product. Experiment as you feel free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to then, I've washed my hands, sanitized them again. All of the equipment that's still here has been cleaned and sanitized as well. I went ahead and got a plate, one of my wife's Corrals, so that we can try to do this. The scale is a gift. A lot of banana, right? All right. So we're just going to go ahead and how do I want to do this? How do I want to do that? I'm just going to go ahead and put some on there. And we are literally just going to, I just want to mash them up a bit to get them broken up. Now, because it's banana, there's no guarantee that there might not be something a little extra being carried along into the must. Again, I'm not too worried about it. The must should take care of itself very easily, and anything that the bananas might introduce in the form of free radicals, wild yeast, whatever, while it may provide a small variance in the flavor. In fact, it might do that every single time, right? Every time you make banana mead, or fruit meads for that matter, any of them, there's always going to be some slight variances to the flavor based on things such as just how much sugar is currently in the what you're using, the brand, where it was grown, right? Grapes from California versus grapes from anywhere else are going to have a slightly different flavor because of the soil that they're grown in, the water that's used to grow them. Just gonna make sure. I'm losing banana. See, I was so good earlier, and now that I'm trying to square it away, I am screwing up. I think I'm going to try to, because I'm going to, now keep in mind, this is for 1 gallon of meat, so it's quite a bit of banana. I'm going to go ahead and pick those up. Oh, time to sanitize the table. If I can get it picked up. There we go. And I'm just going to leave that there and wash my hands. Okay, so hopefully the scale can be used for a smaller amount. And the reason I say that is because I do need to measure out my honey. And I'm going to use I'm going to use 2 pounds, and the reason I'm going to do that is because that's a lot of banana. There's going to be a lot of sugars that are going to be imparted from this banana into the must. So I really don't know exactly where this is going to hit, but I am going to use the 18% cuvee. So we will see exactly where this is going to be very much an experiment. We don't really know where this is going to wind up at. For all I know, it's going to be a super high volume or a super high alcohol, and I'm gonna have to back sweeten and almost make a sack mead. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and move that aside, and I've got some honey back here in this hot sanitization water. It is in a jug. I've been doing that just so that it flows a little better. See that air bubble moving pretty easily? That's because I've had it sitting in there trying to get it warm so it flows. We're going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to try to measure out 2 pounds. Oh, wow. So there's pounds. I'm going to set that on there, and it goes up to 1.5 I saw, and then it died. So I am not going to be able to use that to measure. So we're going to have fun. I am going to, so this is 5 pounds, 80 ounces. You know what? I'm going to do some math, and I'll be right back. So I've communed with the Google gods, and apparently 3.94 something cups is equal to 32 ounces. 32 ounces is 2 pounds. So we're going to go ahead and simply measure out. We're going to go ahead and do the 4 cups. This seems like a lot. It seems like this is going to fill this whole thing up, and it's all going to be gone. But we'll see. So there we go. We will save that for back sweetening, etc. 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 So there are our 2 primary ingredients that go in there. Our third being our yeast. Let's bring out what we are going to use. All right, we got our bucket. We're ready to go. I am going to go ahead and splash some water in here. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I put the honey directly, and this is going to be a pain in the butt to stir, but if I put the honey directly in there and then put the water on top, the honey's going to wind up sticking to the bottom more so than it would if I did it this way. So I'm just trying to save myself a little work. Put that back in there. I am every drop. And then we are going to go ahead and we're going to pitch this, and the reason for that is because it's only 4 ounces, but it could change the the reading, the SG, the OG reading, ever so slightly, the specific gravity, ever so slightly, and I want to calculate for that. And I'm going to write down here, set 2 pounds honey, and I'm going to guesstimate that, and I'm going to put that on here that it's a guess of about 7 pounds bananas. because I really don't know, and I wish I did, so that I could recreate this next time. But I think we're ready to go. And by the way, as far as nutrients and whatnot, I've used none in the McMead. This one I'm certainly going to use none, and the reason for that is because those bananas, they're going to have all kinds of potassium and nutrients that these things are just going to eat up. I expect this one, that when it does kick off, that it's going to be pretty epic. So there we go. That's been pitched. Give it a quick little stir. Get them beasties all up in there. We're going to go ahead and put our airlock in solution so that it can start getting sanitized. Grab our and again, this has not started fermenting yet, so I don't mind blowing some bubbles up in here. I'm going to treat it like a redhead stepchild right now. The more air, really the better. Set that right there so I can see it real good. That is not going to stay, unfortunately. Knock off every drop. Get that off in here. Then we are going to get our sanitized hydrometer. I'm going to drop it in and give it a good spin. What we're doing here by spinning it and letting it bob a bit is you probably can't see it on the camera, but there are lots of little bubbles in here from me stirring this up, and those bubbles want to attach to the glass. I mean, if enough of them attach to the glass, they can actually significantly affect the reading of the hydrometer. So we just want to get those detached for now. And then we're going to come in here, spin it around. Okay, that can't be right. Get off. I don't believe it, but I'm reading an OG of 1094. That should not be correct. Yeah, that's trying to make sure my math was right. And it is, so go ahead and add that right back in there. That can go ahead and go in there. Give this yet another stir. Now the fun part. Oh shit. So trying to do this very slow so that I don't cause a bigger mess than I already know I'm going to. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. This is definitely going to be messy. That wasn't so bad. That was not as death-defying as I thought it was going to be. For a second there, I thought I was going to have banana just everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and give this another stir and get those bananas down in there. It is going to be really important that I come in and stir this a bit over the next day or two. And I'm going to want to come in and degas this one, especially because anytime you do a fruit, anytime you do anything other than just straight honey and water, this stuff, of course, floats, right? It's all, you may be able to see that right at the edge here. This stuff floats. And if it dries out while there is carbon dioxide that's going to be protecting it, that doesn't preclude it from getting an infection. It is still possible for little nasties to get in there and cause problems. So you want to come in here, very gently take the lid off, take your spoon, and just kind of, you want to dip in and degas. In fact, I'll probably use the wine whip for that. I'll take it. Where did I put my wine whip? I'll take the wine whip and I'll set it so that it's, something like this. And I will, right in the center, I will gently push it down in there. And when I get to the bottom, I'll just use my hands and do this. That way I'm doing very little on the surface to disturb, but these are whipping around inside and getting that gas to release. Once it's released, then I'll gently continue to push the banana down, or grapes, because I intend to do a piment as well. But whatever you're using, you want to push it down in there and get it wet again, get those surfaces touching your must, because that's how you're going to get all that goodness out of there. And I'm just gonna really give this a good stir. Let those bananas get kind of dissolved in there. Now the good part is these bananas are going to give up some of their juices as well. So I expect this to actually yield, even with the loss, of the lees. And if you're not familiar with what that is, the lees is as the yeast converts the sugar into alcohol, they reproduce. And they will continue to reproduce and create more and more and more beasties until they start to hit their tolerance, or they start to run out of sugars. And as they are reproducing, of course, some of them are dying off. Those that die off start to fall out of the solution and they fall to the bottom. And you'll have this, some people call it a cake, but it's called lees. And it's just all of the, like the banana, once it's spent, it will also fall out of solution. It will stop, because right now it's right on top. It's floating, most of it. It will fall out and it will be at the bottom. And that's still saturated with a lot of liquid, right? So you're going to lose some of your must, some of your product, through your racking process. There's just no way around it, unless you have some kind of commercial operation going where you've got a pump and a filter, mechanical filter at the same time, so that you can push through that sediment and get like every little drop. Just shaking my airlock in there, getting it all good and sanitized. I'm gonna pull the separate pieces out, dry them a little bit. Trying to get some of the suds out of there. What I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna use the same thing I always do. I'm gonna use my tequila. Set that right there for the moment. We are gonna go ahead and get this lidded. Now, remember in the last video with the Mead, I told you, hey, be careful where you place the airlock because you don't want to block your handle. And then I did it anyway. That was great. So after I took my reading of this earlier today, I went ahead and changed it so that it's not blocking my handle. I'm going to do that now, and we'll make sure that this does not block my handle. As you can see my hole right here. Press this down real good. Now, like I said, I expect this one to take off once it does, to take off pretty good because of all that banana in there. That's going to provide a lot of nutrients for the yeast. And I am right at about right here on this one. Not a ton of headspace for a potential active or very active fermentation. Slightly worried. We'll see though. I mean, it is what it is. This is just rock gut tequila. There's nothing special about it. And again, the reason I use it is because while water will stop like big bugs, ants or roaches or whatever, water will not. In fact, it will actually assist in bringing pathogens, infections into your environment. You don't want that. The alcohol will stop that. So you want to snap that on. Please use an airlock. If you're one of those folks that uses cloth to drape over the top, yes, it works, right? But I mean, come on. I think a pack of these, a 2-pack of these is like $4 or $5. Use an airlock. It's safer. It protects you. It protects the people that are drinking your product if you share it, which you should. If you're making it, you should share it with everybody that you can. This is a awesome and fun. You know what? I am about to push a whole bunch of tequila because I forgot to put my hand on top to stop the change of air pressure. But there we go. No tequila in my must. I'm going to go ahead and make up a label for this one. And I'm going to go ahead and present and display it right back here. And we'll check it in on it with each video that I do while it's there. Eventually we'll rack it and we'll have them in glass carboys in their secondary and bulk aging. And we'll keep checking in on them. In the meantime, I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, and share alike. Let people know that it's here and that you want to help support what we're doing here. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.